have now. But my question to you was, I heard you say that normally you get temporary guardianship and then you have so much time to, well, in my son's case, that didn't happen. Within a few minutes, the judge gave them the hospital, the guardian that was hired through the hospital, I guess it's called hospitalist, within a few minutes gave her on the spot permanent guardianship. And I'm sorry. So first of all, is that normal? I mean, because they had said
an expert on these kind of things. I'm just sort of a Rebecca
the law.
They had set a date for a second court date for, it was supposed to be temporary.
So let's do a little poll. All you victims out there, how many of you were involved with an ETG, an emergency temporary guardianship? About a third. The emergency temporary guardianship is a cudgel. It is a tool used by the predators to avoid any resistance whatsoever, because it's a shoot first and ask questions later affair. If there's somebody, for example, somebody who's very wealthy, and they know there will be resistance from family members, the easiest thing to do is just to say, and I'm going to quote this exactly what they say to the judge. Here it is. Quote, "Your Honor, there is someone in our community who is being abused, neglected, and exploited, and we fear that their life may be in danger." End quote. Those are the exact words that all these conspiratorial lawyers use. The judge then has an excuse to go, ETG. We'll ask questions later, because they're protecting the ward in their best interests. And it's present in a lot more than a third. It happens very often, because it's the easiest way to do it. Right. And once they start, they never end. Everybody understands that. There's no such thing as a temporary guardianship. They all wind up in plenary guardianships.
Well, my family was told by the risk management team from Orlando Regional Hospital, because allegedly they were worried about a lawsuit. So they were training us to take them home, take care of them and everything. But in the meantime, they went behind our back and told us it was a closed hearing. We weren't allowed to be in the court. And before I knew it, the same day, they said, well, we have permanent guardianship.
How old was your son?
At the time, my son was 30 and he's 32 now.
And was he ill?
Yes, he came in with a brain bleed and a stroke. And the problem is, his brain swelled 5 times in size.
Well, sure.
Because they waited 3 days to do the surgery. They refused to do it.
So they're covering their asses.
Right, because they were worried about me signing papers. I can't say which lawyer, because they seen a lawyer upstairs in my son's room doing his disability. And it's like right after that is when they went and hurry up and did this guardianship thing.
Let's stop there for a second. Let's talk about hospitals. Okay? Now, I was a medical director of a very large and excellent hospital in Evanston, Illinois. It's where I did my training. It's where I was chief resident. It's where I had my practice. And over the years, that hospital, which was a very friendly place, a very congenial place, a very caring place, had become corporatized. And now the only thing that matters is the bottom line. Some very seedy characters started running the place. Hospitals, and for those of you who don't understand, with Medicare and Medicaid in particular, hospitals only get paid for a certain number of days in the hospital. If you're on Medicare in particular, it's called DRGs. And generally speaking, after the 3rd or 4th day in the hospital's losing money. And that's why people like Rebecca were able to get a contract for $4 million over the course of a few years to get those patients the hell out of there and into substandard nursing homes. because while they may have paid her $4 million, they saved $40 million. So this is, again, the situation. Now, your son obviously had an extremely complex problem. They may or may not have done the right thing, but they didn't want him in their hospital because they knew he would be there for a long time.
Exactly.
And they can't have that. So a guardianship is just another way for the hospital to take advantage of the laws that pay them at the disadvantage of the patient. And that's the real tragedy.
It's all about money, right?
It's all about.
Like they said to me, someone's got to pay this $1 million bill. Your son can't stay here no more. And that's exactly what they said to me. And you know,
and it's tragic.
I'm sorry.
No, don't be.
But I haven't seen my son in over a year because the nursing home trespassed me because I filed a police report and filed with the state because he was so badly neglected. As he's still being neglected.
And that is the retaliation that all of us have experienced. If you have the temerity to object, they're going to call you a drug addict. They're going to call you an alcoholic. They're going to call you a thief. They're going to call the police on you. They're going to isolate the hell out of your kid. They're going to over-medicate them. They're going to do everything in their power to crush you.
They've done it all.
And I can speak for just about everybody in the room who's been involved with this, including my dear wife. Crushed. Crushed into powder. Because you cannot fight this system today. And you cannot take the risk of being retaliated against. And that leads me to my next question. Is there a complaint department? Where do you go?
I tried and they won't even respond back.
Let's have someone else in the audience talk. We really need everybody to participate to make this work. Would you give her the microphone,
Sure.
please? Just tell us your name, please.
Sally Baptist. Let me first start off by saying something we really got to realize here. You know, if we treated a dog or an animal like this, you'd be in jail.
Yes.
Isn't there something seriously sick when you can treat your fellow man this way, yet you'd be in jail for treating a dog this way? It's unbelievable to me. I was in a situation with Miriam Lancaster. I have her little picture right here. She was 101. She was not... at 99 years old, she was still driving her Cadillac and living on her own. She was not my blood mother, but I met her when the same year my mother had passed away, and we kind of became adopted, unofficially adopted mother and daughter. And that's what people knew us as. And here's another long-term friend of hers back here. And she fell. She had hit her head. This was a house that the Florida hospital had put her in. It's kind of hard to explain the rent and how they moved her and stuff. But they put her in a house with steps where the handrails fell out of the wall and everything else, and she fell and she hit her head. She had some memory loss. She was still able to get around with a walker. She still did, fed herself. She was not totally incapacitated, but she had some memory loss. So, it was through some friends, and this is the part that is more disgusting. Forget the public guardians on this case here. These were two guardians appointed by Judge Jose Rodriguez, and if you see his name on anything, be scared, because he facilitated, he was the one who empowered these guardians to do the stuff they did, and they didn't want to take care of her, and the thing is, they actually knew Miriam, and at some point they were a friend, and he's like, how could a friend do what they did to this lady? And over time, one of her cousins and I tried to take over the guardianship. They would not release it. They took away her voting rights, which if you look on Channel 9, over the last couple of years, between 2016 and 2017, Channel 9 did 2 reports on her. One where they took away her voting rights and how she wanted to vote. She was very political. She enjoyed being involved. And then the other was at her 101st birthday. I've got pictures of her. I've got videos of her dancing on her 101st birthday.
Oh.
And then these people end up moving her. Instead of letting us take over the guardianship, they moved her to a facility, didn't tell us where she was at. We had to fight with the court because people do actually have some rights through 744, even though none of it's enforced. None of it. I mean, it's such a farce. It really is. It's so superficial. So we finally get to find out where she's at. Then they won't let us take her anyplace. They won't let us take her out to dinner. They won't let her visit with her friends. Won't let us take her to church. They don't want to be bothered, but they don't want anybody else to do it either. So again, we're going through the court, trying to fight. Judge Jose Rodriguez would not help her get her voting rights back. She couldn't hardly hear. That was the other problem. The hearing aids were so bad. It's kind of hard to answer questions if you can't hear them.
Right.
And then Judge Jose Rodriguez played so many games with him. He is a disgusting person. He is absolutely disgusting. And he claims to be a Christian. That's the other thing. These two other women claim to be Christians too. These are Christians who would do this to another human being. And these two ladies actually knew Miriam personally. How could you do this to anybody? And I'm still out there asking them, tell me, do you have any guilt for what you did? You could